Hey, welcome back to Everyday Jesus. My name is Derek. Thank you so much for being here today. One important theme for Jesus' ministry, and an important thing that he modeled and he taught on, but that is easy to forget, is the issue of authority. You know, so many times the question of his authority was brought up. People questioning his authority, doubting his authority. There's a really cool story in Matthew, and I think it's in Luke too, where a Roman centurion comes and he recognizes Jesus' authority. It's in this one is in Matthew 8. And it says, when he had entered Capernaum, a centurion came forward to him, appealing to him, "Lord, my servant is lying paralyzed at home, suffering terribly." And he said to him, "I will come and heal him." Jesus said he would come and heal him. But the centurion replied, "Lord, I am not worthy to have you come under my roof, but only say the word, and my servant will be healed. For I too am a man under authority, with soldiers under me. And I say to one, 'Go,' and he goes, and to another, 'Come,' and he comes. And to my servant, 'Do this,' and he does it." When Jesus heard this, he marveled and said to those who followed him, "Truly I tell you, with no one in Israel have I found such faith." This seems to be one of the first times, or one of the first accounts where someone encountering Jesus really recognizes his authority over sickness, his authority over the spiritual world, right? Again, this is a Roman centurion. The Roman had authority over Jesus. As the ruling class, the occupying force, that Roman had authority over Jesus. But he knew he had no authority over the sickness of his servant. And he recognized that Jesus did. And he came to him. It's a humble act, right? For a Roman to come to a Jew in the first century and ask for help. And Jesus marvels at that. You see later in Jesus' trial with Pilate, the main question there, especially in the Gospel of John, is Jesus' authority. And again, it's all through Scripture. But what I want us to see today is not only the role of us recognizing Jesus' authority. So often he says, people call me Lord or call me Master or use the word of being under my authority, but you don't do what I say. So he says it's not true. If you don't obey me, I'm not really your authority. You're just using that word. And again, he says that, and he teaches that idea that if you love me, if I am actually your king, if I'm actually your Lord, you will obey me, because and in doing so, you will recognize and honor my authority. That's a huge question of if we're going to follow Jesus, we have to be under his authority, not just want the things that we want from him, or not just want the things that he can do for us. He can give us a good life, give us peace, give us joy, all these things. It's not just that. He gives us those things as a part of his kingdom, as a part of his kingship. And included in that is his authority over us. We have to have that mindset. We have to have that mentality if we're truly going to follow Jesus for who he is. But also wrapped up in that is Jesus's the way that Jesus models response to other worldly authorities. Jesus doesn't come and overthrow the worldly authorities, the worldly leaders. They expected him to. They expected the Messiah to come and overthrow the occupiers. But he didn't do that. He submitted himself to the authority over him. He tells Pilate, that you only have authority because I allow it. I allow you to have authority over me. In his trial, he says, I have a legion of angels that could come and rescue me at any minute, but I'm submitting myself to you as my authority. Do you submit to authority in your life? This is a difficult question. What is your attitude to those that are over you? Some of us struggle with this and some of us don't. But it's a particularly American thing, I think, to really value bucking authority, or to value having no authority. You know, we have the iconic American cowboy with no master, no boss. You know, I'm my own boss. I have no authority over me. But for Jesus, that's not necessarily a good thing. Now we see that he teaches that you know, he is our ultimate authority. But I think that there are times that he gives us pictures of who he is, and how we respond to that shows how we respond to him. If we can't accept and respect authority in our own lives, how can we respect and accept authority with him? If we have a disrespectful attitude to our boss, and we'll try to get away with things when we can, how does that show our mentality towards authority and therefore to him? It's a difficult question. Sometimes we don't make that connection. Sometimes we don't line up the fact that how we treat authority is how we treat God. And this is a part of the broader idea of how we treat one another is how we treat the Lord. Our relationships with people is intimately linked with our relationship with God. We cannot say we love God if we hate our brother. We cannot say I honor God as my authority if I don't honor the worldly authorities that are over me. And this isn't to say that sometimes it's not appropriate to follow Jesus when our worldly authorities are at odds, for sure. But if we can't honor the authorities that are over us when they're good or neutral or fine, then we can't truly honor and follow Jesus in the way that he intends, in the way that he wants for us. This is a hard question. So I just encourage you with that today. Think about in your life, what are your attitudes towards those that are over you? Your boss, your parents, your pastor, if you go to attend a church. What are your attitudes to them? The most difficult one is probably your boss and government, right? Especially in this politically charged environment, it's really easy for a lot of us to have a very antagonistic attitude towards authorities. There's a lot to agree with and a lot to disagree with, and that's okay. But what is your posture? What is your attitude towards authority that you disagree with? If you can't love them and respect them as authorities, even if you disagree, maybe it's hard for you to truly connect and love Jesus, who is your King and your ultimate authority. Those two things are not separable. So I just want to give you that idea today. I want to give you that to mull over and think about. Again, especially in the United States, this time of political turmoil, where pretty much everyone has very strong opinions about the authorities that are over us. Having strong opinions and thoughts and positions is okay, but how do we engage with that? How do we act? How do we treat those that are in authority over us? And what does that say about the way that we treat our ultimate authority, Jesus? So yeah, bless you with that today. Think on that today, and I will see you tomorrow.